Hello everybody. This will be the video for December 17th, and I have another warning for you. Some scenes of this video may make you thirsty. So, I happen to have here a nice glass of cold milk and a powdered chocolate drink mix. I tried to think of a clever title for this. Only thing I got was the Gravity Gourmet. So here I have some of the drink mix. Look at what's happening. Remember, I told you I was weird. I'm easily amused. Just look at what's happening. Boy, science is hard. Alright, so I put in 2 teaspoons, heaping teaspoons. I like this stuff. Now, you know, nobody would drink it like that. Okay, notice what's happening at the bottom. Because of gravity. Now, to make this a satisfying beverage, I'm going to stir it up. And I'm a minute and 43 seconds into this video. And I'm going to drink a little bit of it, but then I'm going to let it sit till the end of the video. Delicious. Now, so it's fairly well stirred. I put a lot of chocolate in there. I'll mix it up a little bit. Now, I'm going to take the spoon out of it to avoid the temptation of stirring that anymore. You know what's going to happen. If I leave that long enough, think about what's going to happen. All right. In case you haven't figured it out yet, we're not doing igneous rocks today. Okay. Find this sheet. Now, I'm going to put this on its stand. And try not to bump my beverage. It'll be easier to move my camera equipment away from the moo juice. All right, so we're going to work on this section that I have highlighted in pink. I've told you in the other days when we did this, the colors aren't critical, but they are going to come in handy. Okay, it'll help your brain remember this stuff because we have a project to finish here, and then you'll have a quiz on this. Don't freak out, but I am going to show you rock samples, and you're going to have to identify them or answer questions about them. Like, is this igneous rock intrusive or extrusive? You know, I don't know. Anyway, all right. So the colors will help. Now, you're not going to write a bunch, but the bulk of this sheet, 3/7 of it, is sedimentary rocks. All right, here we go. So, some sedimentary rocks are classified as chemical sedimentary rocks. They're dissolved minerals, okay? And I put parentheses around that. I guess I should put parentheses around these other ones too. So, this will be rock that is made, the number one rock of this type is limestone, okay? As big a deal as granite is in the igneous rocks, dude, you gotta know about limestone. It is everywhere around here, okay? Limestone is important. I'm going to put a star by granite too. It's the most important one there. Okay, limestone, big deal. It's a huge deal, okay? I hope some of you have been able to notice on road trips if you drove over to Rochester or to Winona or across the river into Wisconsin, okay? The rock you'll see mostly, the number one rock, is limestone. Now, last March, spring break, I drove over to Wisconsin on a road trip. This is just, we took this picture as we went along on the interstate. That's all limestone. Okay? If you've ever gone to the Wisconsin Dells, that's limestone. Okay? All right. Sedimentary rock made out of dissolved minerals. A lot of the minerals came out of seashells. Okay, now I'm going to write down, this is the number one sedimentary rock. Let's see, is that showing up well enough? Okay. And the most important thing for you to know is, to me, hint, hint, is that 75%, that's most, 75% of the rock on the surface of the earth is sedimentary rock. Okay? 75% of the earth's surface rock is sedimentary. And the number one type of sedimentary rock is limestone. Okay? So right here, 75% of Earth's, I'm just going to write capital E, 75% of Earth's surface rock is sedimentary. I'm just going to write it like that. Okay. If you haven't noticed, you haven't been having to write a ton of notes lately. This sheet is power-packed full of information, but you're not writing that much. All right, next, let me show you some limestones. Here's a chunk of limestone with a fossil coral in it. See, there's the fossil in it. Okay. Here is a chunk of limestone with a fossil there. I think it's a spiral snail shell right there in the corner. Here's a boring fossil, but fossils are still cool. It's part of a leaf. And a chunk of otherwise pretty boring gray limestone, okay? How boring is limestone? We crush it and make gravel roads out of the stuff. I mean, it's all over the place. It's soft enough, it's easily crushed, and away you go. All right, so that's limestone. Okay, that's one type of limestone. Okay, here's a type of limestone that came out of a cavern, like think Mystery Cave or some other place. Okay, it even looks like fossilized chicken bones. It isn't, but those are stalactites that came off the ceiling that fell and stuck to the floor. Okay, I don't know if you like peanut brittle, but that's what this stuff looks like. This is the stuff that was on the ceiling of the cavern, and it broke off and got stuck to the other pieces on the floor. If you want another mental picture of what this stuff is like, imagine cornflakes in the bottom of a bowl that somebody forgot to finish and they all got glumped together at the bottom. They got wet and then stuck together. That's what this stuff is like. Okay, it's limestone. Okay, all right. Now, I put limestone in the chemical category. Okay, that's its best category. It's not the only category, okay? If you need another example where you can see limestone, think Target Field. That beautiful yellowish stone they made the decorative parts of Target Field. When you go to Albert Lea Medical Center, the new entryway, the nice round entryway, all of that stone is limestone. It probably came from up by Mankato. Okay, so I'm going to tell you limestone. Target Field, Albert Lea Medical Center entry. All right. Now, just brief. I haven't touched the beverage at all. Look at what's happening. Some of the light stuff's at the top, and a bunch of the stuff is going to the bottom. Notice what's happening there. Gravity is pulling it down. You can actually see the particles going. Okay. Notice how much lighter it is at the top of the milk than at the bottom. Okay? All right. Now, see what else I've got. Okay, now this is probably the number 2 sedimentary rock in the world. I said probably, I'm not the world's expert on this, but I believe sandstone would be up there pretty high. If it's not number 2, I'd be very surprised. Sandstone. Okay, it's obviously made out of sand. Okay, compressed sand. For limestone, I'm going to say dissolved seashells. Made of dissolved seashells. Has lots of calcite in it. Lots of the mineral calcite. All right. Let's show you some sandstone. Now, of course, if this were where we were in class, I'd be passing these around. And you get to feel this. It feels like sandpaper because it's, yeah. Okay. This is rough. You could use this to like sand off a callus on your foot or whatever. Okay. This is well held together. When you drop it, not very much sand comes off of it. This one's a little bit softer. This is white sand. Okay. There's all different kinds of colors of sand and different sizes of grains. Okay. If it's squeezed together hard enough, it can be made into sandstone. Okay. There's layers of sandstone as you drive up to the Twin Cities. That's a layer of sandstone called St. Peter sandstone. It's soft enough you can just carve your way in with your fingernails. Of course, your fingernails will be sanded down, but it's very, 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 very soft. One of the first industries in St. Paul, when it was a young city, was people carved large caves underneath the city for storing wine and cheese and other things that needed to be kept nice and cool and dry. Okay, so there's lots of caves up underneath St. Paul, especially. All right. Now, another one that we're going to write down. It's a weird long word. Conglomerate. Conglomerate. This is pebbles stuck together. And I brought you 3 different types. You've seen this one before. This one's made out of pieces of broken rocks. They're all rough and you can tell they've been broken, okay? And this is made out of small rounded pebbles, not broken. If you look at the white material in between, that's the probably dissolved minerals, probably calcite that's gluing it all together. And here's one that looks like more like cow pie with corn in it, but this is larger pebbles stuck together. Those are 3 different examples of conglomerate. Okay. All right. I'm at 14 minutes already. Okay. My chocolate milk is getting more separated. All right, next. Organic. This is made out of dead stuff. The best example of that is coal. Okay. It's made out of dead plants. Here's a big chunk of coal. Okay. It's fairly soft. Okay. It's hard to get lit on fire, but once it is lit, it burns and burns and burns and burns. And it burns hot. Okay. The majority of Minnesota electricity is made by burning coal. And we use that hot fire to boil lots and lots and lots of water, turn it into steam, and the steam turns turbines, and that makes electricity. It's being replaced by wind turbines, which we use wind to spin turbines. There's no hot water involved. There's no water at all. Okay. Spinning magnets in your coils makes electricity, and you can do it a variety of different ways. Anyway, coal's a biggie. Next. Now, you could also say limestone is organic. Okay. There's sedimentary rock made out of seashells. Okay, just seashells. What else did I want to do on this? Okay, now I'm at almost 16 minutes already. Okay, let's take another peek at the chocolate milk and what the whole point of this is. Okay. So why did this chocolate settle so much? Well, the particles are heavy enough. The gravity pulls them out. Okay. Everybody that's ever had chocolate milk at school, you know you need to shake the carton before you open it. Otherwise, it's sat in that carton long enough that a lot of the chocolate's at the bottom. Okay? If you like chocolate milk like I do, then shaking it up and you get a better drink top to bottom instead of having all the sludge at the bottom. Okay? Now, we're going to write down a little bit about sediment, because that's what this chocolate is in this lesson. Okay? All right. All of these things were made from stuff that settled in water. Okay? This is dissolved minerals settling in water. This is sand settling in water. This is dead stuff at the bottom of swamps. Okay? It's all settling in water. And it will make horizontal layers. Think back to this. There are 13 layers of sedimentary rock in parallel bands, and I'm telling you, those used to be level, but something has happened in the Midwest. Those are tilted now. It's probably related to the fault. Okay? Big time stuff has happened in the past where these layers used to be like this, and then stuff got broken and shoved and moved around, and those layers got tilted. Okay? And then the glaciers came by later and bulldozed off the top. Remember the relative time puzzles? There's erosion right there. See that line? That's where running water chewed on the surface. There's a river valley with water still in it. And over here underneath Waseca County, there's a river bed with no river in it. It got buried by all this stuff from the glaciers. Okay. Anyway, 13 layers of sedimentary rock, most of it limestone. Oh, yeah, there's the other one, the SH, I forgot. Okay. Let me just tell you about this sedimentary rock. It's ugly. It's boring. It's yuck. Okay. It even smells. It's called shale. Okay. If you have really, really, really light stuff like chocolate milk mix, okay, like the gook in Albert Lee and Fountain Lake, if you've ever walked in that really black, sticky mud, if you dried it out and squeezed it hard enough, you'd get this rock called shale. Okay? I realize this isn't smell-o-vision. You can't smell anything on the internet. But if I got this wet and passed it around the room like I always did every other year, some people would smile and some people would make a gross face. This has the smell of mud pies. If you ever had fun when you were a little kid and made mud pies, that's exactly what this smells like. I think it has a nice sweet smell of fun. If you were deprived and you never got to play with mud when you were a little kid, you'll think it smells gross. I think it smells like fun and freedom outside. Anyway, that's shale. Okay? Stinks when wet. So I'm going to write shale down here. We're at 19 minutes, so you know I'm about done. Okay? All right, shale. That's made out of pieces of other rocks, but man, they've been ground small. So write shale here, made from mud/silt. Okay? made from mud or silt. Think the gook in the bottom of Fountain Lake and Alberley Lake. Think of the stuff they've been sucking out of the bottom of Fountain Lake to make our lake deeper. The places I used to fish in Fountain Lake that were 5 feet deep, now they're 10 to 12. They got rid of a lot of mud and silt. Okay, anyway, let me tell you a shale story, because you all love my stories. I got this story from one of my favorite college professors, and one of his students, these are all people from the Midwest, loved hunting, and he and his friends went together and bought a small piece of paradise in the Colorado mountains so they could have a place to go elk hunting. Okay? These are guys that couldn't afford land on their own, but the group of them together could afford this small piece of property. And in the summer, they were all excited, and they went and cut down some of the trees, enough to build a small hunting shack, hunting cabin, using trees there on the property. And they used the local rocks to make the stone chimney, so they have a fireplace. Okay? They were all excited. They're very proud of their build. Okay? They couldn't wait for elk season that fall. They drove out, this would be like a full day's drive from Nebraska out to Colorado. They got in super, super late, excited to get ready to go hunting the next morning. They got a fire built, slept for a few hours, woke up, made sure the fire was going in the fireplace, so they'd come home tired and cold after a day of hunting, and it would feel so good to come back to their cabin all nice and warm from the campfire, from the fire in the fireplace. They were gone all day. When they came back to the cabin, there was nothing left. It had burned to the ground. Everything was gone. They'd used the local rocks, but it was oil shale. It was shale that had oil in it, and they got it hot enough that the chimney actually caught on fire, and the chimney itself burned. And they had nothing left. Anyway, that's a true story. All right, now let's go back to the chocolate milk to get a final look at it. We're at 22 and a half minutes now. I haven't touched it. Look how white it is at the top. Okay? Look, it's noticeably browner at the bottom. Okay? The very finest of the chocolate has stayed up on top, but the heavy stuff went to the bottom. Okay? Why? Because of gravity. That's what sediment does. Now, I don't know if we can see. Can you see how flat that chocolate layer is? I did not make it do that. Okay? If I just let this sit and settle out almost completely, you'd have about 1/4 of an inch of chocolate sludge at the bottom in a perfectly flat layer. Okay? Now, I wouldn't do this because it would be disgusting, but they also make this drink mix in strawberry, which I can't stand. If I dropped in some of the strawberry and didn't touch it, I would eventually have a pink layer, flat layer, down on top of the chocolate. I could alternate and make this a glass of stripes if I wanted to. Brown, pink, brown, pink, brown, pink. That'd be disgusting, and I wouldn't do it, but that's what could happen. Okay? All right. That's sedimentary rock. I'm going to end this now at 24 minutes.